call this meeting order of the Attleboro School Committee. Please rise and join the committee to pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You're welcome. I'll give you notice that this meeting is being electronically recorded. It's going to be released. So we're going to push the community update down a little bit, and we're going to move right to open forum. Open forum. This is a time when members of the public may address the school committee. Open forum is not a time for committee members to engage in dialogue with members of the public. Guidelines for open forum are available to you up at the podium. Please know that we are interested in what you have to say, but we cannot respond without background information on your issue. Please come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Sarah Curtis, 3 Arnold Street, Attleboro, Massachusetts, 02703. I would like to bring to the school committee's attention, because I don't believe it has been brought, corrective action reports that were issued out on non-compliance findings that were found last October. I have copies made. I'd like to present exhibits attached to the meeting, to the minutes, with today's school committee meeting, for the record, for everyone. And I'm not going to even edit my son's name, because we all know the school, they give information out to whomever regarding my child. For the record, I'm stating that. My student record still has not been given to me regarding my child. I would like to know where it is. I want it now. We're into 2013. This was 2012. Part of that record just surfaced in the hands of attorneys. Not signed off on by me. In the hands of an old landlord in a dispute outside of nothing to do with Attleboro Public Schools. I'd like an answer. Anyone? Chairman?
Ms. Curtis, if you just give your information to Judy,
There you go.
she'll distribute it to the committee.
There you go. You should already have a copy. Okay. Marissa McCarthy said she stated that she distributed it all to all clerical staff. I'm disgusted with this school. You too. Thank you for your help. You said that you were here to make changes. You lied. And on behalf of other parents, I feel sorry for the ones who do not have any courage to stand at this podium.
Ms. Curtis, direct your comments to the committee, please.
To you too for not ever following up on my complaint. Only wanting to speak to me in person. No other communication. From all the rest of you who never got back to me. Only Brenda. Only Barbara. Only 2. None of you. I don't even know who you are. Mr. Murphy has to prove his residency so hard, but he can't get back to a single parent.
Curtis, you're out of order. We don't talk names during this.
I'll leave, thank you.
I will speak with the superintendent and make sure a meeting does get set up with you.
Thank you. Sure you will.
If I will ask for a copy of that too. I'm sure Ms. Nelson will give me a copy. I'll need a copy of the material that she is asking for the committee. Thank you.
Make sure Dr. Dragon receives one of those. Is there anyone else wishing to speak at open forum?
She has the right to speak. We can't talk about it.
Moving on to community update, school-sponsored events. Keith Drucker, welcome, Keith.
Quicker.
Thank you, Mr. Tyler. I apologize. I was just a smidge late there, but why don't we get started on this? So for our school-sponsored events for today, March 4th, our school committee meeting, district-wide on March 5th, there will be no preschool because there will be a preschool screening. On March 13th, there will be an early release, and there will be no morning or afternoon preschool for a kindergarten screening, and that will mean no morning kindergarten. On March 24th, a special presentation for imperfect parents of special children will be held at 6:30 until 8 o'clock p.m. in the Attleboro Public Library. Please RSVP to acepack@ymail.com or 508-222 0012, extension 1444. Here at the high school, there will be SAT testing on March 9th. On March 12th, the school council meeting will be held at 5 p.m. in the principal's lobby. Also on March 12th, the junior parent night will be held at 6 p.m. in the Bray Auditorium. And on March 16th, the advanced placement science session will be held from 8 to 3. At the middle schools, at Brennan on March 7th, the student-faculty basketball game will be held at the high school gym from 6 to 8 p.m. On March 12th, at Brennan, their school council meeting will be held at 3:30 p.m. Also on March 12th, their PTA meeting will be held at 6:30 p.m. And on March 14th at Brennan, the parent-teacher conferences will be held from 6 to 8 p.m. At Coelho on March 15th, the Winter Carnival will be held, as well as the MCAS rally. Also on March 15th at Coelho, the faculty-student basketball game will be held at 6:30 p.m. Finally, at Wamsutta Middle School on March 8th, the 8th grade lock-in is going on. On March 13th at Wamsutta, their school council meeting will be held at 5:30 p.m. And on March 13th, Wamsutta's PTO meeting will be held at 6:30. Finally, for the elementary schools at Hyman Fine on March 5th, the Title I game night will be held at 6:30 p.m. On March 8th at Hyman Fine, their Winter Carnival will be held from 6 to 8 p.m. And on March 12th, their school council meeting will be held at 5 p.m. At Studley on March 5th, their school council meeting will be held at 5:30 p.m. On March 7th, their PTO meeting will be held at 6:30 p.m. And finally, on March 12th at Studley, the kindergarten literacy night will be held at 6 to 7:30 p.m. At Thatcher and ELC on March 12th, their school council meeting will be held at 6:15 p.m. in the principal's conference room. And on March 12th, their PTO meeting will be held at 7 p.m. in the cafeteria. And on March 13th, the incoming kindergarten screening appointments will be held. Last but not least, at Willett Elementary School on March 6th, the Title I parent night will be held from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. in the cafeteria. And on March 12th, the school council meeting will be held from 3 to 4 p.m. And finally, on March 13th at Willett, meatballs and MCAS grade 3 and 4 students from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m.
Thank you, Keith. Ken, you have something?
I would like to just add one. It looks like Hill Roberts, maybe this is from the list. Hill Roberts PTO will be presenting the Winter Social from 5 to 7 this Saturday on March 9th. Just add that. Thank you.
Sorry, we left that one off.
No problem. My wife's coach here, so I'd be in trouble if I did not mention it.
It's important.
Superintendent Durkin, can you just explain the kindergarten literacy night, 6 to 7:30?
That essentially is going to be for parents of kindergarten students to describe the literacy process and have different opportunities for them to see how children learn to read.
So it's just for parents? Is that?
I'm not really sure. I believe it is, because most of our events are for parents. Are you interested in attending, or?
Oh, no, well, somebody asked me. And
Okay.
I wasn't really sure if it was for both, or.
Both who? Children and?
Children and parents, and I really didn't
Okay.
know really what it consists of, so that's why I just.
Let me find out for sure.
Okay.
But they should, if they have any questions, feel free to call the school, but I will find out and get that out to the committee. I
Okay.
believe it's just for parents, but I don't want to misspeak in
All right.
case it is for kids too, so we'll see.
It was just a new parent, and they just wanted to.
Sure.
So, thank you.
Okay, consent agenda. We have a motion to accept a donation in the amount of $20,000 from Bristol County Savings Bank to be deposited into the gifts donation line to sustain the graduation path programs at Attleboro High School. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. We have a motion to accept the donation of an iPad 2 Wi-Fi tablet for the first grade classroom at Will Elementary School from DonorsChoose.org. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Okay, on the new business. I received a letter, probably about a month ago, from DoubleACS, and I asked those two gentlemen to come and give us a presentation. So from DoubleACS, we have Mr. Ed Stanton, the president, and the operations manager, James Jones.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Tyler, for inviting us. DoubleACS likes to think of itself as being mission-driven and goal-directed. Each year, we come up with 5 or 6 goals that we hope to achieve during the coming year. And this year, our technology goal is to provide video streaming and video on demand to both the council and the school committee, if they choose to accept that. Video on demand is actually, I should start with video streaming. That's a real-time service. While a meeting is going on, anyone having access to the internet anywhere in the world can watch that meeting. Video on demand is the next step. After that's encoded, it's available from then on. It's a program that can be found, and it's not only there, but it's also searchable via the agenda items that are on that program for that evening. We're really happy with this, being able to offer this service. It's the next step in our process of always trying to update our service to the community. Now, with me is Jim Jones, our operations manager, and he'll amplify any of the things that you'd like to talk about and answer any of the questions. Jim?
Okay. So as Ed said, this is a goal that we have set forth for this year, but this hasn't been a goal that we've just looked at this year. We've looked at it 4 years ago, 2 years ago. And when we looked at it 4 years ago, the initial outlay was about $100,000 of equipment that we would need at the studio to provide this. Bandwidth, there wasn't enough bandwidth for us to do it, let alone want to have the service. And then the service cost was about $30,000 a year to do this. So it was really cost prohibitive, and to even make it available online, we're talking about 6 to 8 hours man time to get it on there. So it was very cost prohibitive as well as labor prohibitive. We looked at it 2 years ago, and the cost had come down, but not anywhere where we could afford to do it as well. Unfortunately, nothing in the broadcast industry is cheap, and takes money to do this stuff. When we were in a conference last year in Chicago, we learned that YouTube was rolling out a project where they would allow for certain broadcasters in the country to give them unlimited bandwidth, unlimited storage, and unlimited time on their networks, free, with no ads. So that was important for us. So they were only doing a handful, maybe 5 or 6 in the country. And we applied really early, and about a month later, we were adopted into the program. So we've been working with the system for about 6 months now, and we've gotten to the point where we have no issues. It goes out, perfectly. I can't say that it will always, work that well, but for right now, it's working great. What it would look like to the council and to school committee and to the public in general would be, we would have a link on our website for the video, and we would provide that link to the Attleboro schools as well for them to put on their website, so people would be able to just bring up the site, and as the meeting's going on, they can watch it. When the meeting is over, approximately 2 to 3 hours later, that link would become the actual replayable video of the meeting. So, if you missed the meeting at 7 o'clock, you could go up on your computer at 11 or 12 and watch it at your leisure. We would take it one step further. We would provide an additional website that would index and archive all of these meetings, and it would make it searchable so that you just go to the site, and if you wanted to learn something about all the meetings that came up for a superintendent search, you key in superintendent search and all of those meetings would show up. It wouldn't search within the video, but it would just bring up those meetings. When we look at what we've been provided by YouTube, we provided one organizational account. So the first thing that we had to come over was what happens if school committee and city council are going on at the same exact night. Well, our priority would be, if it's happening on a Monday night, school committee would get priority on Monday night. If it was happening on a Tuesday night, city council would get priority. So that's what we're offering for you to either adopt or deny.
Yeah, I mean, what it said in the letter and why, everybody received it in their packet is it requires a signature letter to DoubleACS approving of this change. So that's why we're having, first, gentlemen, I gotta say, the city of Attleboro is very lucky, to have such a professional, innovative, community cable provider. I know. I've been to quite a few surrounding communities. And I can honestly tell you, you guys kind of make them look like school kids. I mean, you guys do a great job, very professional service, and I can't thank you guys enough, really. So while we still have them there, I'll put the motion out. If there's any part of the discussion, if somebody would like to ask one of the members of the DoubleACS that question, they'd be able to answer it. So put the motion to authorize DoubleACS to provide online playback of the school committee meetings via internet access to the Attleboro community.
Second.
Discussion. Ken?
It's funny because right before coming here, I stopped for my coffee and I mentioned to someone they're going to be traveling during some future meetings, and I said, well, hopefully in the future you could watch them online. So they sound like that's a good idea. Pop it on their tablet and they can watch the meeting from their hotel room. So I think it's a great idea. Into the next century.
Dave?
Thank you. I would echo the chairman's comments just about the contributions that DoubleACS makes to the community, and we're all grateful for that. I think this seems like sort of a necessary, common sense next step to take with regard to providing access to the public to our meetings and to the information that the various parts of the city government have to convey. I'm curious, would you, with regard to archiving the meetings, will you be going back and archiving past meetings? Is there any plan to do that, or is there the capability to do that?
That would take labor to.
So there's capability. It's
right.
Okay. Understood.
We have been working with it for the past 4 months,
Mm-hmm.
so chances are that there are previous meetings that we do have.
Sure.
But our plan is going forward, those meetings would be available.
Understood. I mean, I think it sounds like a great idea, and as Mr. Parent said, if you're on vacation now, that you get to have access to all the school committee meetings you could possibly want.
Be careful what you wish for. No. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Mr. Stanton and Mr. Jones, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item on the new business is the recognition of the maintenance workers and custodians for the snow removal efforts with the February 8, 2013 snowstorm. Unfortunately, they were not able to be here tonight. They're still working on some other stuff, so I just told Jason if he'd supply a list of these individuals. We have had some of them before us, before the committee before. So again, I mean, they just did that snowstorm was probably every possible hazard you could deal with between the heavy snow and the high winds, and they just did a great job. I'm sure some kids weren't appreciative of the great job they did to get them back to school so early, but I think they'll be appreciative that come late June when they have that extra summer day. So again, they did a great job, and I'd like to name these individuals. On the maintenance staff, we have Jeffrey Brusso, Charles Bradshaw, Frank Cerrone, Eric Fagerberg, Noel Givens, Richard McLaughlin, and I apologize if I get any of these wrong. On the custodians, we have Paul Bellamance, Jamie Shafee, Antonio Coelho, Norman Dorado, David Eldikin, Andre Feria, Ricardo Feria, Joseph Furtado, Gene Hasty, Manuel Solia, and Antonio Souza, and of course our facilities director, Jason Prento. So again, gentlemen, tip of the hat, and what an excellent job you guys did. So keep up the good work, and we totally appreciate that. Dave?
I just, I think, Mr. Chairman, the contributions that they make throughout the course of the year, it takes 24 inches of snow sometimes to get the proper recognition, but I think our gratitude to to the work and their contributions to making the schools look as nice as they do sort of goes without saying, but I appreciate you taking the time to, when the opportunity does arise, to recognize that. And if we tried to get Mr. Parento at a meeting to be formally recognized, but that plight continues.
We'll make sure that we get it. I'll get it to him in person now.
There you go.
Jason always appreciates a visit anyways.
Right.
Okay, moving on to personnel report. Dave Sawyer, our assistant superintendent.
I have a couple of items for you tonight. We have 2 retirements. Deborah Federico, a Title I teacher at Studley, and Stephen Perry, a history teacher in the network program. We have 1 resignation, Victoria Ryan, a board-certified behavior analyst, and I have 1 appointment, Leslie Emmord, a special ed inclusion paraprofessional for Quell.
Thank you, Dave. Barbara?
I personally don't know Deborah Federico, but anyone that puts over 30 years in our school system, I want to thank personally for giving us that dedication and helping the students for that long. So, have big shoes to fill again.
Yes, again.
Person. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Barbara.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Sawyer. Moving on to committee report. Finance, Facilities, and Procurement Subcommittee. Mr. Parent.
All right, we got a couple of bills and warrants to read into. First one dated February 20th, 2013, the amount of $278,776.13. Appropriations make up $236,485.94. Federal and state grants $5,324.57, and revolving funds of $36,965.62. Second one dated February 27th, 2013, the amount of $524,163.61. Appropriations of $410,912.83. Special funds of $9,739.37. Federal and state grants of $9,325.02. And revolving funds of $94,186.39. Our next meeting will be held on Wednesday, March 13th, 2013, at 7 p.m. in this room. And then Mr. Concludes our business.
Thank you, Ken. Moving on to Curriculum Instruction Subcommittee. Mr. O'Neill.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Our next meeting will be held here tomorrow at 6:30. That concludes my report.
Moving on to Policy Subcommittee. Ms. Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's nothing to report at this time. Our next meeting will be held in this room at 7 p.m. Next Monday, March 11th. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Bill?
Just one of the things that we went through in our consent agenda, we always kind of go through this stuff pretty quick. I think just of note, I didn't know if you wanted to elaborate a little bit on the gift from Bristol County Savings Bank to the night diploma program here at the high school. It's a nice presentation that they had last week, and I mean, it's a rather sizable gift to the system that I think we gave 10 seconds to, if that. And
right.
I think it's maybe do a little bit more than that. So.
Right. I'd have to agree with you, Bill, and it's partially my mistake. Yeah, they've been a partner with this school district for a long time.
Absolutely.
And through the good and the bad economic times, they've always been there to support this program, where a lot of high school students probably would not receive their diploma if it was not for this pilot program starting up. So, yes, it was a very nice presentation, and you're right, Bill. I mean, it should be recognized more. It's a very generous amount of money, and we definitely don't want to be looking a gift horse in the mouth on this. Again, great people. Everybody at that bank is they're just wonderful people. So, yes, Bill, I'm glad you did bring that up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, the last thing we have is the superintendent search. Okay, as we all know, we are on the final leg here. I think the Sun Chronicle and the Attleboro Community Pats have been doing a great job at getting the information out there about our expected timeline that we have, but we're going to just review it anyways. So our superintendent finalist timelines. We have finalist interviews with the school committee on Wednesday, March 6th at 7 p.m. with Dr. Anthony Azor. On Thursday, March 7th at 7 p.m., we're having a finalist interview with Mr. Kenneth Sheehan. Dr. Anthony Azor is currently the Director of Curriculum and Instruction for New Bedford Public Schools. Mr. Kenneth Sheehan is the Superintendent of the West Warwick Public Schools. The finalist site visits to the Attleboro Public Schools. will be Monday, March 11th, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Mr. Kenneth Sheehan, and Tuesday, March 12th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. by Dr. Anthony Azar. The site visits to the finalist school district by the school committee will be Thursday, March 14th, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. At West Warwick Public Schools with Mr. Kenneth Sheehan, and Friday, March 15th, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the New Bedford Public Schools with Dr. Anthony Azar. Both of these candidates will be participating in a public forum on the days of their visits here. That forum is going to be from 4:15 to 5 o'clock at the Attleboro High School mini auditorium. This meeting with the public will give the finalists a chance to basically kind of tell the public about them. And then we plan on holding a brief question and answer with questions coming from community members to them. I think just so everybody knows, in essence of time and making sure that it's, you know, it's such a short time frame, I should say, we want to make sure that we get the most valid questions as we can. So I think we're going to be setting something up as like when the participants come walking in, I should say the community comes walking in, they'll have a postcard, they can kind of write their questions down. We'll have a couple people on the school committee just try to review those and get to the ones that we think can basically, you know, reach the meat and potatoes of the subject, if you will. So again, we ask anybody in the public to come out for these interviews. If, you know, if everything goes correct, one of these persons is going to be the next superintendent of the schools, which is something that is very important to the city of Attleboro. And, you know, we need your input as well. We are 9 members. We've done our due diligence so far. The search committee did their due diligence, getting these, forwarding these candidates to us. But we still need public input. Anything you want to add to us as your representatives, we're more than willing to listen. We do plan after these interviews, if everything goes ahead, you know, according to schedule, the week after the 15th, which would be the week of the 18th, possibly of this committee sitting down in one session, reviewing everything of how we got to where we were, talking about it a little bit, and hopefully talking about who's going to be the next superintendent of the school. So again, we do invite the community to come on down, 4:15 to 5 o'clock on Monday, March the 11th, and Tuesday, March 12th in the Attleboro High School mini auditorium. And thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Just want to go with me on this one?
Yeah, that's the one I,
You know, I mean, you went travel.
together.